cheers, and the pettiness overshadowed the brilliance she brought to the sport. But while veterans were busy trying to bruise the rookie into submission, someone far more powerful was watching from beyond the borders of the league. This wasn't about endorsement deals or shoe contracts. This was something far more disruptive. And when Stephen A. Smith took to national television and dropped a revelation he had been hinting at for months, the basketball world froze. What he hinted at was nothing short of a billion-dollar earthquake. A hostile takeover of women's basketball, orchestrated by the Saudi Public Investment Fund, with Caitlyn Clark and Sophie Cunningham marked as the centerpiece of the entire empire. The moment the rumor hit the airwaves, panic erupted. Executives, fans, and players all felt the ground shift beneath them. Because if the Saudis truly secured a deal of that scale, the WNBA was staring at the biggest crisis it had ever faced. Stephen A. Smith's warning didn't come from thin air. For months, he had positioned himself as the only prominent voice refusing to sugarcoat the WNBA's mistakes. Whenever Caitlyn Clark took a cheap shot, he called out the league's silence. Whenever a veteran tried to belittle her accomplishments, he demanded accountability. And every time the league allowed physical intimidation to overshadow the massive growth Clark brought to the sport, Stephen A. hammered the same message. The WNBA was fumbling its most valuable star. His tone shifted gradually from frustration to forewarning. Then, finally, he delivered the punchline. Not only were the Saudis preparing to create a rival women's basketball league backed by billions, but Caitlyn Clark and Sophie Cunningham were the two players allegedly already positioned at the center of this new world. His revelation wasn't delivered like a rumor. It landed like a verdict. As if the paperwork wasn't just drafted, it was already sitting in the hands of the people who mattered most. The impact of the Saudi rumor stems from the simple truth that the Saudis don't operate within limits. They don't deal with salary caps, franchise budgets, or CBA restrictions. They don't negotiate. They acquire. And when they identify undervalued assets, they strike with precision. To them, Caitlyn Clark is not a rookie waiting her turn. She is a global star being compensated at less than 1% of her market value. If the reports are accurate, the offer placed on the table wouldn't merely represent a salary increase. It would represent ownership. A historic, generational contract that dwarfed every WNBA payday ever issued combined. The rumored figure wasn't just meant to entice Clark. It was meant to shake the foundation of the sport itself. Sophie Cunningham's involvement made even more sense to those who understand modern sports branding. She is charismatic, memorable, and magnetic in a way most athletes never manage to be. Together, she and Clark formed the perfect entry point into a global entertainment product designed around star power rather than long-standing structures. What makes the WNBA vulnerable isn't only the money. It's the culture that created an opening for disruption. The league has struggled for years with low salaries, exhausting travel schedules, inconsistent officiating, and the constant need for players to go overseas simply to earn enough to sustain their careers. But everything escalated when Caitlyn Clark arrived. Instead of celebrating the rookie who single-handedly boosted ratings, attendance, and merchandise sales, the league allowed hostility and resentment to dictate the narrative of her first season. The Kennedy Carter hip check became a watershed moment that told the world exactly how exposed Clark was. The officials did nothing. The league did nothing. And veterans used the moment to send a message. But the message ended up echoing in a place they never expected. Investors around the world saw a superstar being mishandled in real time. They saw an opportunity. They saw a league unable to protect or elevate its most valuable asset. And for the Saudis, this was the perfect storm. Caitlyn Clark's value is not simply tied to her on-court performance. She is a cultural force. Her games sell out. Her broadcasts break records. Her presence shifts the energy in arenas that have been half-empty for decades. To international investors, she represents the kind of generational star who can launch an entirely new sports product into global relevance on day one. Add Sophie Cunningham to the mix, a fiery personality with immense fan engagement, and you have the perfect pairing of spotlight and spark. This isn't random, strategic. And it is exactly why the WNBA's silence has become the most deafening part of this entire saga. Normally, leagues move quickly to shut down rumors this massive. Agents issue statements. Executives reassure the public. Players deny involvement. But not this time. Nobody is saying a word. Not Clark's camp. Not Sophie's camp. Not the WNBA. Silence isn't weakness. Silence is leverage. It signals that conversations may be happening behind closed doors, and that no one wants to kill their negotiating power prematurely. Every day the rumor circulates, the WNBA loses ground. Networks panic. Sponsors rethink contracts. The league's future suddenly feels tied entirely to one player's decision. Stephen A. Smith's revelation did more than expose a rumor. It exposed a reality. The WNBA stands on fragile ground, supported heavily by the surge. Do you believe Caitlyn Clark should consider a move to a new global league? Would a billion-dollar offer reshape women's basketball for better or worse? Share your thoughts below. Hit the like button if this breakdown kept you hooked.